In the quiet village of Osoro, nestled at the edge of a sprawling forest, there lived a woman named Naya. Her beauty was the talk of the town, but it was her hair that truly captivated everyone. Naya's hair was an enigma, thick, glossy, and always styled in ways that seemed impossible. Every week, it transformed, displaying intricate designs no one had ever seen before. Some days, it was a cascade of shimmering waves that sparkled in the sunlight like spun gold. Other times, it was braided into patterns so intricate they seemed to tell a story. The villagers marveled at her, and whispers of her hair's magic spread far and wide. Among those captivated was her best friend, Ijeoma. Naya and Ijeoma had grown up together, sharing countless memories under the shade of the great Iroko tree in the heart of the village. But even with their deep bond, Naya never shared the secrets of her hair. "Naya, how do you do it?" Chidinma would ask, pretending her tone was light-hearted. Naya will always laugh, a sound like wind chimes on a breezy day. "Oh, Ijeoma, it's just a gift. Some things aren't meant to be explained." But Ijeoma couldn't shake her curiosity. The perfection of Naya's hair hadn't seemed natural. It was as though the strands themselves were alive, imbued with some hidden power. One evening, as the crimson hues of sunset bathed the village, Ijeoma decided to uncover the truth. She excused herself early from the communal gathering and waited near Naya's home, blending into the shadows. Through a crack in the window, she saw something that made her heart stop. Naya sat in front of her mirror, her face calm and serene. But what struck Ijeoma was her body. Detached from her head, which rested in her hand, the head moved as though alive, instructing her hands as they braided her hair with supernatural speed and precision. The strands glowed faintly, shifting in color with each movement. Ijeoma wanted to scream, to run, but her body refused to obey. She could only watch in stunned silence, her mind racing to make sense of what she was seeing. Just as she mustered the courage to move, Naya's head turned sharply, her glowing eyes rocking onto Ijeoma's through the window. "Ijeoma," Naya said, her voice echoing unnaturally. "Why are you here?" Ijeoma froze, her heart hammering in her chest. I wanted to see you," she stammered. Naya's body moved to place her head back on her neck, the action smooth yet unsettling. In an instant, she was whole again, her serene smile returning as though nothing had happened. "You should not have come uninvited," Naya said softly, though there was an edge to her tone. Some truths are not meant to be discovered. Ijeoma fled, her legs finally obeying her. She didn't stop until she reached the safety of her own home, slamming the door behind her. That night, she couldn't sleep. Questions swelled in her mind, mingled with fear. What has she witnessed? What was her friend hiding? And most importantly, was Naya still the person she thought she knew? As the days went on, Ijeoma avoided Naya, unable to face her after what she had seen. The villagers began to notice the change, murmuring about the rift between the two friends. But Ijeoma knew she couldn't ignore the truth forever. The secret of Naya's hair was not just hers. It was tied to something far darker, something that could endanger the entire village. The village soon noticed a change in Ijeoma's behavior. She wasn't her usual cheerful self and seemed to be avoiding Naya. Some of the villagers, curious and suspicious, began to ask her questions. "Is everything all right, Ijeoma?" they will ask. "You and Naya haven't been seen together lately. Did you have a fight?" Ijeoma didn't know how to answer. She wanted to tell them, to warn them about the strange things she had seen, but she was also afraid. What if Naya found out and used her magic to punish her? Naya, noticing the villagers' glances and whispers, grew more distant and withdrawn. She avoided the market and stayed inside her house more often. She knew something was wrong, but couldn't place her finger on what had changed. She started to suspect that Ijeoma, her closest friend, might know more than she was letting on. The tension between Ijeoma and Naya finally came to a head one afternoon. Naya, tired of the strange looks and whispers, decided to confront Ijeoma. She found her by the river, collecting water for her mother. "Ijeoma," she called out softly, but there was an edge to her voice that Ije had never heard before. "Why have you been avoiding me?" Ijeoma froze, the water jug trembling in her hands. She turned to face Naya, her heart pounding. "I haven't been avoiding you," she stammered, trying to force a smile. "I've just been busy, that's all." Naya stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "No, Ije, something has changed. I can feel it. I thought we were friends. If there is something you know, you should tell me." Ijeoma's mind raced. She wanted to deny it, to run away, but she could see the intensity in Naya's eyes. She knew her friend was not someone to be trifled with. I saw something, Naya," Ijeoma whispered, her voice barely audible. I saw you without your head." Naya's eyes widened, and for a moment, she looked truly frightened. "Ijeoma, some secrets are better left unknown. For your sake, I hope you keep this one to yourself." Ijeoma nodded, her body trembling with fear. She had just received a warning, one that she could not afford to ignore. Ijeoma was distraught after her encounter with Naya. She needed someone to talk to, someone she could trust. She decided to confide in her mother, who was wise and knowledgeable about the old ways. That evening, she told her mother everything she had seen and heard. Her mother listened carefully, her face growing pale with each word. "Ijeoma," her mother said finally, her voice trembling with fear, "you should not have meddled in such things. These are stories, old stories of women who could remove their heads. They made deals with spirits of the forest for beauty or power, but such deals come with a price that is often too high to bear." "What should I do, Mama?" Ije asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Stay away from her," Her mother replied firmly, "Keep your distance, and whatever you do, do not speak of this to anyone else." As the days passed, Naya's behavior became more erratic. She no longer greeted the villagers with her usual warm smile. One night, Ijoma had a strange dream. She was walking through a dense forest, the trees towering over her like giants. Suddenly, she saw a group of shadowy figures standing in a circle. They seemed to be chanting, their voices low and rhythmic. As she stepped closer, one of the figures turned to her. It was an old woman with deep knowing eyes. "Beware the magic that binds the hair," the woman said, her voice echoing in Ijoma's mind. "It comes from a spirit that demands a high price. If the bond is not broken, it will consume her and you." Ijoma woke up with a start, her heart racing. She knew then that she could no longer ignore the dangers. She had to find a way to protect herself and the village from whatever dark force was at work. The next day, Ijoma went to see Adanne, the village's wise woman. Adanne was known for her knowledge of the old ways and her ability to see onto the spirit world. Ije told her everything she had seen and experienced, hoping for some guidance. Adanne listened carefully, her eyes narrowing. "You have stumbled into something very dangerous, child," she said. "Naya's magic is not her own. It comes from a spirit, a forbidden spirit that grants beauty in exchange for something precious. But such paths are unstable. The spirit will demand more and more until there is nothing left to give." Ijoma's eyes widened with fear. "Is there any way to stop it?" "There's a way," Adanne said slowly, "but it will require great courage and the help of the village. You must be prepared for what is to come." Adanne explained that Naya's power came from a spirit of the forbidden forest. Every time Naya removed her head to braid her hair, she was performing a ritual that strengthened her bond with the spirit. However, if the ritual was interrupted, the spirit will grow angry and could cause great harm. Ijoma knew what she had to do. She had to reveal the truth to the village. It was the only way to save Naya and protect everyone from the spirit wrath. As days passed, Naya sensed something was wrong. She felt the spirit's power waning and knew her secret was no longer safe. She sought out Ijoma, cornering her one evening by the river. "Ije," Naya whispered urgently, "I know you've told someone. You've put us both in danger. I can protect you, but you have to promise to stay quiet." Ije shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Naya, this has to stop. It's too dangerous. The spirit is taking over you." Naya's face twisted with fear and anger. "I don't want to lose what I have," she hissed. "You don't understand. I can't go back." "Naya," Ije said, tears streaming down her face, "I don't want to lose you as a friend, but this magic is destroying you. Please, let's find another way." Naya's eyes softened for a moment. She looked vulnerable, almost like the friend Ijoma once knew. "I'm scared, Ijoma," she admitted. "I thought this would make me happy, but now, I don't know." Ijoma decided to rally the villagers. She knew they needed to come together to confront Naya and the spirit's power. She gathered everyone at the village square and told them everything she knew, including her mother and Adane's warnings. The villagers were frightened but determined. They prepared protective charms, gathered together in prayer, and planned to confront Naya that night. Naya, sensing the tension in the air, prepared herself. She knew the villagers were coming, and she knew she had to make a choice: surrender the spirit's power or fight to keep it. That night, the villagers, led by Ijoma and Adane, gathered outside Naya's house. They lit candles and chanted protective prayers. The air was thick with tension as Naya stepped out, her hair flowing like dark flames around her. She looked both frightened and defiant. "Naya," Adane called out, "we know about the spirit. It's time to end this. You can still choose to be free." But Naya's eyes flashed with anger and desperation. "I don't want to lose my beauty. I don't want to be ordinary again." The villagers continued to chant, their voices growing stronger. Naya raised her hands, and her hair began to move, twisting and wrestling like a snake. But the protective charms and chants began to weaken the spirit's hold. Naya fell to her knees, her eyes filled with tears. As the villagers continued their chant, the spirit's power began to break. Naya's hair lost its unnatural luster, falling limp around her face. She cried out as the spirit's presence left her, a gush of wind swirling through the village and disappearing into the night. Naya collapsed, her beauty fading back to a natural, ordinary state. The villagers rushed forward, helping her to her feet. She looked around, her eyes filled with shame and sorrow. "I'm sorry," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Ije embraced her friend, relief flooding through her. "It's over for now, Naya. You're free." A few days later, Naya left the village, choosing to start anew, far from the memories of her mistake. The villagers returned to their normal lives, grateful for their unity and the wisdom that had saved them. Ijoma, though saddened by her friend's departure, found solace in knowing she had done the right thing. And so, the question lingers: is beauty worth the cost of one's soul? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. The moral lessons. These lessons reflect the deep themes of the story, encouraging self-reflection and the pursuit of values that contribute to personal and communal well-being. Here are 5 detailed lessons from the story. 1. Naya's desire for external beauty led her to make a dangerous pact with the spirit, which eventually consumed her life and relationships. The story teaches that true beauty lies in one's character, kindness, and inner qualities, not in outward appearances. Seeking validation through superficial means often leads to dissatisfaction and unintended consequences. 2. The power of courage and truth. Ijoma's decision to confront the situation despite her fear underscores the importance of courage and honesty. By speaking the truth and seeking help, she not only saved Naya, but also protected the village from the spirit's wrath. This shows that addressing problems directly rather than avoiding them is essential for resolution and growth. 3. Unity and community can overcome great challenges. The villagers' willingness to come together, guided by Adane's decision, demonstrates the strength of collective action. Alone, Ijoma or Naya wouldn't have faced the spirit, but the community's unity and shared effort helped break its power. This emphasizes the importance of standing together in times of crisis and supporting one another. 4. Greed and desperation can lead to destruction. Naya's path with the spirit was driven by her desperation to maintain beauty and avoid feeling ordinary. This greed ultimately led to her suffering and the spirit's control over her life. The story warns against making reckless decisions out of fear or a desire for more, as the consequences often outweigh the benefits. 5. Forgiveness and redemption are always possible. Despite Naya's mistakes, the villagers chose to help her rather than condemn her. Ijeoma's forgiveness and embrace symbolize the possibility of redemption. This moral highlights the value of compassion and understanding, even when someone had faltered, as everyone deserves a chance to make amends and start anew. That's it, my lovelies. We've come to the end of this story. Please don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking stories. Till I come your way next time, it's goodbye from Tabby's Corner. See you soon.